Hello and welcome to your first alert weather forecast. My name is Mr. G today and we're going to be talking about your weather today. And in this video, I'm attempting to do this live and see what happens, okay? So we are going to rock with this and talk about the weather forecast. It's kind of an analysis of the video I did yesterday. We're going to give a little bit of details as to why I think the weather is going to turn out the way that it is. So let's take a look right now. Oh, I got to click something here so that my clicker works. Let's turn on my clicker. There we go. So now let's go and take a look at our watches and warnings, at all the activity that's going on out there right now. As we can see, a lot of this has to do with a lot of heat issues. So we got heat warnings, heat advisory. So we got our heat advisory here across the parts of the southern Mississippi Valley, the Ozarks, and it's going to be also into the central and southern plains. So through North Texas and central Oklahoma, we're going to be seeing excessive heat warnings in place as we are in the triple digits, and we are seeing those temperatures in the 90s to near triple digits across the northern plains through the Dakotas and Nebraska. We're seeing temperatures approach 100 degrees, but tomorrow we will see those temperatures surpass the triple digit mark and all the way through Kansas, all the way down into Texas. So from Texas to the Canadian border, we're going to see temperatures exceed 100 degrees and very high humidity. So it's going to be pretty miserable conditions for your Monday through parts of, or for the entire length of the Central Plains states for your Monday. So pretty miserable conditions for you folks out there, and we're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall here to the east. So we're seeing some flooding issues through parts of the Ohio Valley and West Virginia, as we're seeing some heavy rainfall, which we will explore on the radar in just a moment here. And we got more heat warnings across the northern plains and the highlands of Montana, where we're seeing, and we're also seeing our red flag here through parts of Oregon and Nevada and extreme northeastern California. So we have very dry weather conditions and conditions suitable for fire issues. So we have our red flag warning for that part of the country as well. We have some flood warnings through here through southern Utah as well, as we've been seeing those gully washers from those monsoon storms out there. So we're seeing those monsoons in the higher elevations, and as that water falls on the mountain, the soil is not yet able to absorb that water because of fires, damage from fires, and the lack of precipitation. So that water just rushes down into the valleys below, and we're going to be seeing a lot of issues with flash flooding through parts of the Rockies as well as the desert Southwest. We have our excessive heat warning through Maricopa County and parts of Arizona here in central Arizona in the Phoenix metro area, where we're also seeing excessive heat because in Arizona those temperatures are pushing 110 or more in the Phoenix area. So it's very, very hot out there, and we're going to be dealing with those excessive heat issues throughout most of this week coming up. You might get periods of relief where it might be a few degrees cooler because of increased cloud cover in those monsoon storms out there. So you may see temperatures come down a few degrees. Texas also might get a drop in the temperatures by a few degrees, but not enough that it's going to make anything any better. 102 don't feel that much different from 105 or 106 if we're going to keep it 100. So let's take a look at that radar right now. And as we look at the national radar, and what we're seeing is a lot of thunderstorms out there. The middle of the nation is dry. This is where that heat dome is, that ridge of high pressure. That huge ridge of high pressure that's dominating and directing the traffic in our weather this summer, and it's going to be hanging out right here once again, and that heat's going to be in place. So you see this dry weather in this region, and we have our storms here and more storms here. Here we have our area of low pressure. There are several frontal boundaries and a trough of low pressure here along the mid-Atlantic and into the southeast. We're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall here today through the Ohio Valley, parts of the Midwest. We have them thunderstorms in place. As you can see, the lightning strikes there. So a lot of thunderstorms out there. And then down here in Florida, we have our tropical influence because everything is kind of moving in this direction off of the Atlantic and toward the Gulf of Mexico and the Gulf Coast. So we're seeing those showers and storms here through parts of Mississippi and into Louisiana and along the coast, a few showers and storms, and we're seeing those showers and storms through the state of Florida on your Sunday afternoon and evening as well. And in the west, we have our monsoon moisture because this high pressure that is centered here is everything is flowing pretty much in this direction across that. So we have our mean flow coming in off of the Pacific that's going like this, going up. Everything is riding up over the top of the ridge and dropping down over the Northeast and the Great Lakes. So that is why we're seeing pretty decent temperatures across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast, because they are getting that downward push out of Canada. So it's taking that cooler air that you would see up in Canada, and we were seeing it come over the top of the ridge, but we're also seeing a lot of weather systems that's embedded in that flow. So you're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall through parts of the southern Great Lakes and the mid-Atlantic. So it's kind of been a conveyor belt of showers and storms for the majority of the summer. So that's how we're kind of seeing this pattern. There's dry weather in through here and everything traversing across the northern tier of the nation and along the Canadian border. And we're going to be looking at some maps that's going to kind of show us that prevailing pattern that we've been in. So let's take a close in look at some of these areas and that precipitation. And we're going to start with the Ohio Valley. This is the rain that we're seeing across Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania. I know somebody commented yesterday on YouTube and they wanted some rainfall in Pennsylvania. Where are you going to be seeing that rainfall in Pennsylvania, especially if you're in western Pennsylvania by Pittsburgh or Canton, Ohio. So if you are in coal or steel country here, you're seeing that rainfall this afternoon, and some heavy rain could cause some flash flooding issues as well. We did have that in our forecast from yesterday. If you watched yesterday's daily forecast, you'll know that I talked about the potential for flash flooding in this region, which is what we're seeing. So we're seeing a lot of rainfall here. But if you look down here where things are more scattered, you see the lightning strikes. This is where our thunderstorms are. So not all of this is thunderstorms. We have this broad area of rainfall, but then we have our thunderstorms in the heat down here to the south and southeast here. So we're seeing our scattered and isolated thunderstorms and our general area of rainfall, but you do see some storms out ahead that's kind of leading this band of showers in. So it's going to start off with showers and storms, but you will end up with just some general heavy rainfall. Let's look at another area that's dealing with some heavy rain showers as well, and that's going to be the southeast in the state of Florida, because we have our flow coming off of the Atlantic, coming like this. So we have these tropical waves that's going to be moving across the Bahamas, coming in off of Cuba and the Dominican Republic and Aruba out there. We have Bermuda. So we have all of those tropical waves coming in off of the Atlantic, coming from east to west. So in this direction, everything is coming from east to west, because we have the Bermuda high out there that's kind of has the same pattern as that big ridge of high pressure that's over the center of the nation. So that ridge of high pressure is pumping things in from this direction. So Florida in the southeast is going to be getting their energy from here, and it's getting picked up by that ridge of high pressure here. So it's going to continue that flow, and that flow is going to get caught in the bottom half that's passing on the south end of that trough, of that ridge, and that's providing the energy for our monsoon moisture. So you can see how something over here is influencing the weather in the western half of the nation. So let's take a look at those monsoon storms. Now here's a closer look at what we're seeing through the Intermountain West and the Desert Southwest. Now right here in Arizona, here is Phoenix right about there, and we have what's called the Magellan Rim. Now, the Mogollon Rim is kind of like an area where we have some elevated, where they got the mountains. There's the southern, the lower regions of the Rocky Mountain Range, and at that rim, it's kind of where there's elevated, where those plateaus are. If you go out to Colorado, Durango, southern Utah, like St. George, Provo, so you go to those areas in Utah, and you see those sediment layered plateaus that kind of rise up, and they have the flat tops. That's where this area is, the Mogollon Rim. That's the rim country, and this is where a lot of those monsoon storms form. In order for Phoenix and Tucson to see those monsoon storms, they have to form along the rim and then drift off the mountains over Phoenix and Tucson. That's typically how those two cities see the monsoons, but for the most part, you'll just see them over the mountains, and they'll pretty much rain out. They don't have a lot of steering current, so you won't see them move anywhere. They'll pretty much form and then rain out where they form. So here's where we're seeing those storms this afternoon across the rim, and then over into New Mexico, you're seeing them north of Albuquerque and north of Santa Fe. You got one storm just to the north of Santa Fe, and it's spreading those showers and storms, those elevated storms that are high up over the mountains, so it could result in some flash flooding. But we have a lot of action going on over Utah here, so you can see over Utah and into Nevada. So here is Salt Lake City right about there, and here is Nevada, and the Great Salt Lake is right there. So just to the west, we're seeing those showers and storms over the Great Basin this afternoon. So today, a lot of that focus for those monsoons is going to be over central and northern Nevada up toward the Idaho and Oregon border. And we have some more storms here in southern Colorado and northeastern Nebraska. No, not Nebraska, northeastern New Mexico. I always get Nebraska and New Mexico, maybe because they start with an N. So I'll be trying to think of one, but I say the other. But anyway, that is a look at all the craziness going on with our summer monsoon this afternoon and evening. So here is a quick look at the severe weather outlook for the next 3 days. And for this afternoon, here we're seeing the action right along the border of New Mexico and again Nevada, these ends of Nevada and Utah. So right there across northern Nevada and western Utah, west of Salt Lake City and the Great Salt Lake, we could see some severe weather. And the only reason why we're seeing severe weather there is because some of those storms produce so much rainfall, there's so much lightning, and it's the gusty winds. You're not going to see hail with those storms, but what you are going to see is gusty winds, and those winds will hit 60 plus miles per hour. So it will just put them over into the marginal severe risk area. So we will be seeing that. We're going to be seeing that across the northern plains as well. Here through parts of Montana, you could be seeing those thunderstorms that's going to produce gusty winds. Same thing with the Canadian border area of Minnesota up there in North Dakota. Gusty winds is going to be that primary severe threat for that region as well. And we're going to be seeing heavy rainfall here through the Ohio Valley and parts of the Ozarks here through Arkansas and southern Missouri. We're going to be seeing heavy rainfall. It's the primary threat. As you saw on the radar, we saw a lot of rainfall through this region. So we're going to be seeing those showers, the heavy rain and those thunderstorms that's on the southern and leading edge ahead of those big batches of rain. So that is a look at today's severe weather. And as we talk about your Monday, now we're going to be seeing that severe weather really focus across the northern tier of the nation. We have the upper Midwest along the Canadian border, Montana, North Dakota, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and then all the way over into the northeast. So we're talking parts of upstate New York, southern Vermont, parts of eastern Pennsylvania, Virginia, parts of West Virginia, the the little finger there of West Virginia, you guys are going to be seeing that severe weather in New Jersey as well, and New York City could be just getting in on that severe weather. And that primary issues is going to be those gusty winds and some heavy rain. But we're not worrying about hail or tornadoes with that action in the Northeast. But you could see a little bit of hail and tornadoes in this yellow area here across the far northern plains around along the Canadian border. So if you're in that area, you could be seeing those thunderstorms, those severe storms in that region. And finally, as we look at Tuesday for the severe weather, again, we're talking about that big ridge of high pressure that's down here across the plains. And everything is rotating to the north around that ridge. So we have that flow coming off of the Pacific, and that ridge is pumping it over. And as those things come down, it causes those areas of low pressure to intensify. It creates that spin in the atmosphere. So we get in that spin, we get in that rotation. So now we're seeing those situations where we're going to be seeing a lot of severe weather here across the upper Midwest, the upper Mississippi Valley, and parts of the Great Lakes. So we're talking Lake Michigan, parts of Lake Superior, northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, parts of eastern Minnesota, where the Twin Cities eastward, we could be seeing some severe weather. And your primary threat is going to be heavy rain. This area is very prone to heavy rains with severe weather, maybe some small hail, gusty winds for sure, and an isolated tornado. Now, the upper Midwest in Minnesota and Wisconsin are often prone to see rain-wrapped tornadoes or wedge tornadoes, which usually occur with low-base thunderstorms. So when you have to have low-level rotation, and you can see those wedge tornadoes or those rain-wrapped tornadoes. They're dangerous because you don't see them because they're shrouded in rain. So that's something to look out for across parts of the upper Midwest. It's just very common in that area. And some small pea-sized hail, pea to nickel-sized hail or dime-sized hail is going to be possible as well through parts of the upper Mississippi Valley. So that is a look at the severe weather outlook for the next 3 days. Now let's get down to analyzing that weather forecast that I think that we're going to be dealing with here for this upcoming week. And so as we look at our surface map, and here is that map for tonight. So tonight is showing that rainfall that we're already getting. So this has been verified because we're seeing that rainfall that is forecast, and there's that frontal boundary there, and that frontal boundary is going to extend down into the southern plains and across the state of Texas. Now, however, this end of the front is going to be very dry, and if you're north of the front, you might be a couple of degrees cooler than you would be if you're south of this stationary front. So this front is neither moving north or south. It's kind of going parallel because our system is going to be riding over the top of the Bermuda High over in the Atlantic. So there's a lot of dynamics going on here that's going to make this a prolonged precipitation event for the Northeast and the East Coast, because it's not able to budge the Bermuda High out the way, because the Bermuda High is a semi-permanent feature. So it's going to either shrink or get bigger. And that's what we're going to be seeing. Right now, the Bermuda High is running kind of high, so it's a little big. So this storm system is not going to be able to suppress that. So what it's going to have to do is slither in between and go over the top of the Bermuda High. So this is going to be some prolonged precipitation through parts of the Northeast, and for Sunday and into Monday as well. So it's going to take a couple of days for the influence of this storm system to move on out of the eastern half of the nation. And our monsoons will continue because this big ridge of high pressure is going to keep pumping that moisture up out of Mexico, off the Gulf of California, and off the Gulf of Mexico as it's being pulled in. So we're going to be seeing those monsoon storms through the Four Corners and into the central Rockies and into the high plains of Montana and Wyoming, where you could be seeing those storms. And again, another added issue with this is that we have those storm systems that's traversing along the Canadian border, like this guy right here. We have this guy, we have another one right there. So these systems are going to come in off of the Pacific and ride over the top of that ridge and into the Great Lakes and in the Northeast. So it's going to keep that cool pattern going for the most part with minor warm up. So you're going to have brief warm ups out ahead of the storm systems as they approach, because you're going to get that return flow. So it's going to pull up some of that warmer air from the south as the front approaches. But once the front passes, or that low pressure passes, your winds will switch back around to the northwest, and you'll get that cooler air rushing back in to replace the warmer, moist air that your storm brought in. So once that occurs, you will return back to those comfortable, beautiful temperatures and humidity levels that you've been enjoying this summer across the Great Lakes and the Northeast. So that is what we're going to be seeing for this afternoon, right? The rest of the today, because it's already about 5:30. So we've gone through most of the day. We've already verified most of this forecast. So let's talk about tomorrow. Now we're seeing our system here lift north because it's traversing over the top of the Bermuda High. So this guy now is going to be moving that way. So that those showers and storms, whatever's left, is going to be across upstate New York and into Maine and southern Canada here. So we're going to be seeing that guy work his way out. But its tail end is going to be dragging across the parts of the Appalachian Mountains and in the Ozarks and over into the southern plains. But you can see it's going to be mostly dry across this region because all of that energy is being squeezed out across the southeast and south of the Appalachian Mountains. So the Appalachians is acting like your cutoff point. All that moisture is not going over the mountains. It's getting squeezed out on this side of the southeast. So you're going to be seeing those showers and storms across the southeast and into the state of Florida and along parts of the Gulf Coast. And we're going to be seeing things kind of quiet here across the plains and into the desert southwest before our monsoon storms get going in the afternoon. We're not showing anything because there's nothing particularly organized. This is just heat of the day, afternoon thunderstorms, making use of what available moisture is there. And your heat, a lot of heat, but it's very cold in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So it's enough to squeeze out some of those showers and storms to get some of that lift going. So we're going to be seeing this area of high pressure continue to direct traffic across the western half of the nation. So we'll see kind of a little bit of a decrease because this guy is going to shift to the west. So this what we call a continental blocking high is going to be either going back and forth like this. It's either going to sit over the central plains or over the four corners. And the amount of moisture for the monsoons is going to depend on where that guy sets up from day to day. So let's move on to your Tuesday now. So as we know, which one was it? That was Tuesday. All right. So, yep. Does my map say Tuesday? Yep. It says Tuesday. See it right there? Tuesday. So now let's look at Wednesday. Now the next map is kind of our extended, so it's not going to show you areas of rainfall, but I'm going to tell you where those areas of rainfall is going to be. And those areas of rainfall is going to be here through parts of Michigan and the upper Midwest, through Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, and then over toward parts of the Northeast. You might see a few showers on Wednesday out here. We're going to continue to see our spotty storms here across Florida. Our monsoons is going to continue in the desert southwest. So we're going to be seeing things cool off a little bit across the northern plains for your Wednesday here. So we're going to be seeing this front drop down. So we're going to see it cool off for a couple of days at the least across the upper Midwest there as that front passes through. Now we move on into your Thursday, and yeah, that's Wednesday. So now we're going to talk about Thursday. Now Thursday, you see, our front dropped down a little bit further south, so it's going to take that cooler air. It's attached to that front. Now that front is moving across the northern plains and is eventually going to end up here in southern Canada. So Quebec and Toronto, you guys are going to be dealing with some rainfall. And the northeast going to be dealing with rainfall from that area of low pressure, and it's going to have its trailing cold front as well that's going to extend into the central and southern plains here. And here is our high pressure that's going to be directing everything for the weather forecast through this week and our southwestern monsoon. And as we take a look at your Friday, here again, our frontal system drops a little bit further south, but moves a little bit more to the east than it does south. It's going to kind of level off here, but you're going to see this end continue to move off to the east, and there it is moving off the eastern coast there. So that means that things are going to start to moderate here across the northeast and the Great Lakes. You're going to see your temperatures kind of start to get back comfortable again. And here comes the secondary front across the upper Midwest and over Minnesota and into parts of the Dakotas. We see in our secondary front that's going to be drifting across here as well. So that's going to add a little bit more comfort to your weather and more showers and storms across the northern plains. And we're going to be seeing our high pressure continue to stay in control out of the west. And you can see how that flow is, that monsoon moisture coming right in from the southeast and up into the central, the Rockies here, and head north and northeast, because every time one of those frontal boundaries pass to the north, it taps into some of that monsoon moisture and pulls it up. So it kind of makes your system kind of look like this, kind of curves over, because that moisture plume is getting pulled on by those low pressure, those upper level troughs or upper level low pressure disturbances along the Canadian border there. So we're going to be seeing our monsoon moisture get stretched out or thinned out by that interaction with those areas of low pressure to the north. And as we take a look at your Saturday, now we are moving into next weekend. We're going to be talking about, again, that frontal boundary here. We got a triple point, so we could see some severe weather in this region. So in parts of the Mississippi Valley and the Central Plains, we could be dealing with some severe weather as we have a triple point in play right here. And we're going to be seeing more of those showers and storms through parts of the southeast as well. And our monsoons will again be a feature out there for the western half of the nation. But we're going to continue to see that dry weather here through parts of the plain states. So from Texas all the way up to North Dakota, we're going to probably see that heat increase as well. But we do have another cold front that's going to be dropping down, so that heat will probably stop right about here at that cold front, and it'll be a little bit cooler here across the northern tier of the nation, the high plains into Montana, North and South Dakota, and northern Minnesota. But if you're south of this front right here in this area of low pressure, you could be dealing with some showers and storms by this time next weekend. So we got one more day for this map to look at. We got your Sunday. So as we move into Sunday, high pressure starts to move in across the Canadian border. So we're going to be seeing things kind of settle down there across the northern plains, but those showers and storms will move up into parts of eastern Canada here in the far northeast. So you may be dealing with some showers and storms through parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and maybe even Massachusetts might deal with some showers and storms. We'll continue to see that scattered, isolated stuff across the southeast. Texas, you might pick up a few showers and storms as well, as we have that flow coming off of the Bermuda High right in here. So you might be able to squeeze out a shower or storm along the Gulf Coast in the state of Texas for next Sunday. And again, that high pressure is going to continue to dominate in the west because of the mountains here, causes that air to lift up high, so we get that big dome of high pressure that's building. That's strictly because of the interaction with the mountains here through the Rockies. So that monsoon is going to continue into this weekend. So that was a look at the extended forecast. Now let's take a look at what the GFS is going to be showing as far as precipitation is concerned. So we saw the maps of the isobars and our boundaries and areas of low pressure. Now here's where that is going to translate to actual precipitation. And here's where we are today. We're seeing those storms here across the parts of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, and that's starting to sneak into the Northeast. That will do so overnight tonight. So this moisture will move off this way. So tonight you'll be seeing those showers and storms through the Northeast and into the New England states. That isolated and scattered stuff is going to continue down across the Southeast and into Florida. And here is our summer monsoons that's going to be extended all the way just into about Montana there, where some of those storms might reach severe limits strictly because of the gusty winds that's involved in some of the storms that could produce some flash flooding. So then for tomorrow, here's what we're going to be seeing for tomorrow. So those showers and storms, now this is going to be overnight mostly. Most of this is going to be overnight tonight, over the overnight hours or early morning. So all of this here in the Northeast is going to move on out by in the afternoon. So this is just going to be in the early part of your day. You're going to be seeing no showers and storms, but you will have showers and storms through this part of the region, to parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, and that will move into the mid-Atlantic states. So eventually those showers and storms will be in the DC area and Baltimore and South Jersey and Philadelphia. You guys will deal with those showers and storms once that area moves into your area. But we're going to continue to see these showers and storms here off of the Atlantic get pumped into the far southeast and into Florida and the Gulf Coast. So that is what we're going to be seeing for your Monday. And let us not forget the summer monsoons out here. A little bit of a decrease in the monsoons for your Monday, but we do have an area of low pressure there along the Canadian border that's going to produce some showers and storms along the Canadian border, and that is going to lead to that severe weather through parts of Minnesota and North Dakota tomorrow. So that is going to be the catalyst for that severe weather, is that guy that's moving across the Canadian border. So now let's move forward into Tuesday, and we're going to work our way through this week. And as we move into Tuesday, again, there's those showers and storms along the Canadian border because we have that low pressure center. See that L right there? That L stands for a loss, because you're losing if you're dealing with this storm. So that's going to be a lot of showers and storms across the northern plains through Minnesota and up the upper peninsula of Michigan and the Canadian border. So the southern provinces of Canada. And there's that other big system that we were dealing with over the past couple of days. There it is, moving off into Nova Scotia now. And we're going to continue with that flow off of the Atlantic across the southeast and the state of Florida. But it's going to be a little bit of a decrease. So we're going to be seeing a little bit less showers out there. But nonetheless, some isolated showers and storms will be possible across the southeast for your Tuesday, and still some monsoon storms across the desert southwest and the intermountain west. And here we are. Let's go on into Wednesday. As we look at Wednesday, here is our guy here that's really starting to get his act together. We can see the sign of a trailing cold front here. There's an area of low pressure. So it's going to be spreading some showers and storms through southern Canada. So we're talking about Toronto and Quebec. And you guys are going to be seeing those showers and storms. Niagara Falls as well. Those showers and storms associated with this guy. But it's going to move on off towards the northeast there. And we're going to be seeing some scattered showers along the southeast in the state of Florida. And then the monsoons is going to continue across the desert southwest. So outside of this system, not a whole lot of organized activity is going to be taking place by Wednesday. So we're going to be seeing a lot of hit and miss stuff as we finish out the week. So nothing really organized. The only organized activity is going to be passing across the Canadian border here in the northern tier. Here's another one passing by, another weak area of low pressure. This is what we call a short wave trough. It's not a closed flow. It's just an open wave in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's enough to cause some instability and spark some showers. So that's going to be the only organized activity for the most part that we're going to see this week. But if you're going to be seeing these guys across the upper Midwest, through the Great Lakes and over into the Northeast and southern Canada, they're kind of going to go like this, kind of drop down a little bit and then rise back out again as they head up to the Northeast because of the Bermuda high. So we got the Bermuda high and we got our intertropical, our continental blocking high here that's both contributing to each other, and they're kind of working together to influence the overall weather pattern that we're seeing this summer, which is consistent with La Nina. because we're still in a La Nina conditions right now. Now here's that guy again, that low pressure center slowly making its way to the east, but there it is in north and southern Canada. But we will have a cold front that's going to be dropping down across parts of the upper Midwest as we move on into our Wednesday there. And you can see that barometric line there, that's the sign of that cold front that's going to be dropping down. But as you can see, it's going to be dry. So it's going to make things a couple of degrees cooler across the upper Midwest if you're on the backside of that front. But if you're ahead of that front, all that advection coming in, that warm air advection, so you're going to see things warm up slightly if you're in the northeast on your Wednesday. And here we are as we take a look at Thursday. So what we're going to be seeing for your Thursday, and that's going to be more of that mess across the upper Midwest and the northern plains. Here we are with this southern Canada, this region right here. These guys are going to be slowly traversing this area, but for the most part, not going to affect America too much. We will see a few showers here along the St. Lawrence River. So we got Lake Ontario and Lake Erie could see some showers. So Pittsburgh and Buffalo might pick up a shower or storm. Again, here's that moisture being fed in by that flow around the Bermuda High. So we're going to be seeing those showers and storms across the southeast, that isolated, the scattered stuff across the southeast, and then our monsoons in the southwest, because of this area of high pressure here is going to continue to pump that moisture off of the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico. So we got a two-pronged attack here from into the desert southwest because of that huge area of high pressure right there. And do we have a little area of low pressure here across parts of Colorado? That is called a thermal low. And that's because it's so hot that it causes the air to rise. And when that air rises, the pressure lowers. So it creates an area of low pressure, and it could contribute to some showers and storms as well with that thermal low pressure. You also see thermal lows coming across the desert southwest in California because it's so hot that it causes the air to rise, which then lowers the air pressure because that air is not compressing on top of you, it's actually lifting up. So it's called a thermal low. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on into Saturday. So here we are with the Saturday and that monsoon flow. We have another system across southern Canada here, and it's going to be again tapping into some of that moisture plume, and we're going to be seeing it drag lines of showers and storms across the northern plains and into Minnesota. So next weekend we can see a line of showers and storms develop here from Minnesota through Nebraska and into Colorado and Wyoming. So we're going to be looking for that by this weekend. Now with the GFS, as you get further out, it can get kind of shaky. But however, is when the models are acting stupid or they don't make sense, you go by what has been the pattern. What have you been seeing? So they can pretty much stay with that if the models aren't making sense. However, this is consistent with what we've been seeing. So right now the models continue to make sense because they're in line with the pattern that we've been in. So we're going to continue to see all of this moisture rotating around the periphery of this high pressure. So we're going to be seeing that moisture come in off of the Atlantic onto the southeast, Florida and the Gulf Coast, and then up into the desert southwest, and then across the top of the ridge and into the northern plains and the upper Midwest. And that feeds in to this region here, which then creates a spin in the atmosphere. So we're going to see repeated rounds of those upper level storms across parts of southern Canada that's going to be fed by energy coming across the top of this ridge. So that is a look at that forecast. So let's talk about yours. Now, here is a look at the prevailing, the upper air pattern. This is the driving force of everything. So as we look here, now, so here, let's take a good look at this. Let's examine this map here. This right here is our big ridge of high pressure. You see it there? You see how it's a big circle? It's kind of like a dome, okay? And then you have these barometric lines here, different layers of that dome. This center is the top of your dome. It's the highest area of barometric pressure, right? So here the pressure is lower, 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 till you get here where we have kind of a broad area of low pressure. This is today's forecast. This is why we're seeing all of that energy and weather right in this region. If you watch remember, we think back to what we saw on the radar. We saw all those storms and stuff, all that rain right in here. That's because of this area flow pressure. We have this broad area flow pressure, and it's being dumped down like this because it traversed over the top of this ridge. Now here's another area flow pressure coming in off of the Pacific. It's going to do the same. It's going to go over the top of the ridge. Let's watch it in action here. Here we go tomorrow. Here we go tomorrow. There it is. Boom. Tomorrow it's going to be here across the through parts of the the high plains along the Canadian border. We're going to be seeing severe weather across the high plains and into the states of North Dakota and northern Minnesota, because this guy is going to move across here. See, watch this. Let's watch it. See? Boom. That's where it ends up. This is where it's going to end up by Tuesday. Tuesday, right here. Severe weather. Boom. Right there. See that guy? It's going to cause that severe weather across the northern plains. And it's going to drop down here. See, watch this. Let's move it on. There we go. See, there it is. It's going to drop a little bit further south. It's going to end up in southern Canada. It's going to end up right in this region right here, and it's going to bring that rainfall and more storms. We won't see severe weather for the most part in this region because of the angle that's coming in. It's what we call positively tilted. And when a storm is positively tilted, it's not usually that strong, but if here it had more of a negative tilt, and that's when the storm is really pulling in that energy, that inflow is coming into the storm, and that's when storms tend to be more intense. So it's going to take a positive tilt as it drops down into the Great Lakes region. And let's take a look at the next day. Now we're into Thursday. There it is. It's turning the corner because there's a trough in Canada. So we have a huge trough right here. So that must mean there's a large area, maybe like the polar vortex, a polar vortex-like system that's up here in central Canada by the Thunder Bay. It may be up there causing, or Hudson Bay. We're going to say Hudson Bay. It's going to be a broad area of circulation that's going counterclockwise. So now what it's doing is these weaker systems are going to traverse around those big broad areas of low pressure and high pressure. Those are the guys that direct your traffic. So these smaller guys that actually produce the weather that we deal with is going to be traveling around those guys. So that is what's going to be going on. Let's take a look at Friday. Boom, there it goes. There's the next guy that traversed across the top of the ridge, and it's going to be dropping down. Now this guy's a little bit weaker than that guy was, so we're going to see a little bit less in the way of severe weather. Now let's take a look at your Saturday. Oh, I guess that was it. It only goes out to Friday. All right, so then now let's talk about the tropics. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Thanks for bearing with me if you're still watching. We're going to talk about the tropics. The tropical outlook is this. All right. The Atlantic is quiet for right now, but we're going to cover that. But we have a hurricane to talk about in the Pacific. Now, this is Hurricane Estelle. Estelle is right here, just off the coast of Southwest, about 400 miles off the coast of Guadalajara, Mexico. And it's just about 700 miles of La Paz off the tip of Baja California. It's about 1,200 miles away from Los Angeles. Okay, so we have this hurricane. Now, this hurricane is hanging out right here, and this is what it's going to do. Now, Hurricane Estelle is right there. Now, by 12 p.m. on Monday, it's going to be here, and then 12 p.m. on Tuesday, it's going to be there. Still a hurricane. It may intensify to Category 2, Category 3. Now, we had a hurricane just a few days ago reach Category 4 that kind of took this same path. And as this storm moves out into cooler water, so hurricanes need warm water to sustain themselves. cooler water here, more wind shear. That storm is going to weaken and become a tropical depression. So by 12 p.m. Thursday, it's going to be a tropical storm. 12 p.m. Friday, a tropical depression. And then it's going to go bye-bye and become nothing. But what it's going to do as it moves out, it's going to increase the surf in Southern California and all the south-facing beaches on the West Coast. So if you're in LA, San Diego, or here in Baja, California, and you like to surf, you're going to have great surfing conditions. We've had several storms pass on the eastern Pacific, and they do increase the surf and the wave action off the coast of California. So it might lead to some small craft advisories on the West Coast and definitely increase or improve conditions for people who like surfing and anything, and then you'll have to worry about your shipping interest. So for the most part, these tropical systems aren't going to affect any land mass directly. It may affect them indirectly by the increased activity in the ocean that it could lead to a higher waves crashing on shore. So that is a look at the weather forecast as we kind of evaluate that forecast, kind of go over my forecast reasoning and why I think that I'm just not some guy up here talking. I know the weather, so we just kind of gave a talk about why I think we're going to have what we have, and that pattern that we've been having is a kind of a elongated El Nino pattern, or not El Nino, but La Nina, because if you look at the map and you see where everything's dropping down, but it's all the way over by the Great Lakes or the southern, that area of Canada where Quebec and Toronto is, and in the Northeast. In the winter, that area would be where the northern Rockies and the High Plains meet. That region, that would take place over the High Plains. So that cooler air will be dropping down through places like Minnesota and the northern plains. So that's why we get really cold winters when we have La Nina. But that same pattern takes place in the winter. It's just a little bit further to the west that you see that ridge. That ridge is more toward the west coast and over the eastern Pacific, more toward the Northern California, Oregon, and Washington, northern Utah. And on the backside of that ridge, that downsloping occurs. So that is a look at the forecast that we're going to be seeing. More of the same. That heat is going to continue across Texas, and we're going to have periodic periods where that heat will rise and extend into the northern plains to near the Canadian border. So we're going to be seeing that yo-yo effect continue for the plains, but it's going to stay hot in Texas. You're going to keep seeing those isolated scattered showers across the southeast, Florida, and the Gulf Coast, and you're going to be having those periods of those organized, more substantial storm system through the parts of the Great Lakes in the Northeast. But you're going to still be cooler in those regions, but you are going to see a lot of rainfall continue for that part of the region. So thanks for watching this live broadcast, a special live, because I want to test this out. And my name is Mr. G, your meteorologist. Thanks for watching. Please leave your likes, comments, and subscribe. I've stopped doing that or asking you guys to subscribe, and I've noticed the channel is growing a little bit more. Very quietly growing, the YouTube channel and the TikTok channel. It's doing great. Thanks, guys, for watching my TikTok stuff. But that's going to do it for today. I'm all done. Thanks, guys. That's all I have. I will see you guys tomorrow with our daily weather forecast. And also stay tuned because I'm also going to post today's daily forecast since I've already recorded it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.